Rare few rise above, while the overwhelming majority remain trapped in mediocrity. The answer lies not in luck, not in talent, but in mindset. The 0.1% think differently, act differently, and live differently. Today, let's uncover why 99.9% never succeed, and how you can join the 0.1% who do. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me share with you a truth as old as time itself. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is not in opportunity, nor is it in intelligence, nor even in circumstance. It is found in the way they think, the rare, disciplined, uncommon way in which they see themselves, their work, and their future. 99.9% of people will go through life following the crowd, never questioning where the crowd is headed. They rise when told to rise, work at jobs they dislike, and return home to live lives of quiet frustration. They have been conditioned to believe that success belongs to the lucky, to the gifted, to those with some special advantage. But the truth is, success belongs to the man or woman who chooses to think differently. The 0.1% live by one rule that changes everything. I am responsible for my life and the results it brings. That single conviction separates them from the multitude. Where others see excuses, they see possibilities. Where others surrender to fear, they act in faith. Where others quit at the first sign of difficulty, they persist until the mountain is moved. Here lies the paradox. Success is not complicated. It has always been the product of clarity, discipline, and persistence. Yet the 99.9% never apply these simple truths because they are distracted by the noise of the world, enslaved by habits of idleness, and seduced by the false comfort of waiting for things to change. The 0.1% understand that life will not hand them success. They must pursue it relentlessly, guided by a clear vision. They guard their time, for they know it is life itself. They invest in their minds because knowledge and understanding compound like wealth. They live by principle, not by impulse. And here is the central truth I want you to remember. Success is not reserved for the fortunate few. It is created by the disciplined few. So I ask you, where will you stand? With the 99.9% who drift, conform, and settle, or with the 0.1% who rise, persist, and achieve? The choice is not made tomorrow or next year or after the circumstances become ideal. The choice is made now, this very moment, because success is not an event, it is a direction. Every decision, every habit, every thought is either pulling you closer to the life you desire or pushing you further away. So here is my challenge to you. Decide today to join the 0.1%. Write down what you want most in life. Commit to taking one step toward it before the day ends. Refuse to let excuses and delays rob you of your destiny. For the world has always belonged to the few who dared to think differently. Act boldly and persist when others surrendered. It is waiting now for you. Clarity of vision is the rare gift that sets the 0.1% apart from the vast majority who drift through life without purpose. The 0.1% know precisely what they want, where they are going, and why they are going there. They live with a definite chief aim, a central purpose that acts like a compass guiding every decision, every step, and every effort they make. The 99.9% wander aimlessly, hoping chance will somehow deliver them to success. But life does not reward the uncertain, it rewards the determined, the focused, and the resolute. Without clarity, people spend their energy chasing distractions, following trends, and imitating others, never realizing that each day they move further from the life they could have lived. The man or woman with vision, however, walks a straight path while others stumble in circles because they have chosen to define their direction with precision. When you know what you want, the world begins to arrange itself in your favor. Opportunities that were once invisible reveal themselves. People and resources seem to appear at the right time because you are tuned to recognize them. To the drifter, these same opportunities go unnoticed because they lack a clear destination. It is like two ships leaving the harbor, one with a charted course and a captain at the helm, and the other drifting without map or compass. One will reach its intended port, the other will be tossed endlessly by the winds and tides. The 0.1% are the captains of their lives because they have taken the time to define their course. Clarity of vision requires discipline. It means stopping long enough to ask yourself hard questions. What do I truly want? Where do I want to be 5 years from now? What kind of life do I desire to build? These questions may seem simple, yet most never take the time to answer them. They are so absorbed in daily routines and immediate problems that they fail to step back and see the larger picture. The few who do, the rare individuals who crystallize their desires into a definite purpose, gain a sense of direction that fuels their persistence. Obstacles no longer deter them, because their eyes are fixed on a greater end. The power of vision is not in merely wishing but in deciding. The 0.1% do not say, I hope, or I wish. They say, I will. They write their goals, they visualize them, and they take consistent action toward them. Their vision gives them energy when others grow weary, courage when others give up, and patience when others demand immediate results. This clarity becomes their anchor in turbulent times and their torch in moments of darkness. Life without vision is like traveling without a destination. Every path looks tempting, but none leads anywhere. Life with vision is deliberate, purposeful, and fulfilling. The 0.1% understand this truth and shape their destiny by first shaping their vision, while the 99.9% continue to drift, waiting for chance to deliver what only clarity can provide. Courage to act is the quality that separates the doers from the dreamers, the achievers from the hesitant. Most people hesitate when faced with uncertainty, waiting for the perfect conditions, the perfect timing, or the perfect guarantee that their actions will succeed. But life offers no guarantees, and waiting often means waiting forever. The 0.1% understand this truth, and they step forward despite the trembling of their hands and the pounding of their hearts. They know that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it, the decision to act in spite of it. Fear whispers doubts, paints worst-case scenarios, and magnifies obstacles, but the courageous individual recognizes fear for what it is, an illusion that loses power the moment you move through it. The reason most never rise to greatness is not lack of knowledge or opportunity, but lack of action. They think, they plan, they imagine, but they never leap. Their minds become graveyards of unfulfilled ideas and abandoned dreams. The few who dare to act break this cycle. They move forward with imperfect steps, learning as they go, and they discover that motion itself generates clarity and strength. Action opens doors that thinking alone can never unlock. While the majority stand still, paralyzed by hesitation, the 0.1% are already 3 steps ahead, gaining experience, making progress, and building momentum. Courage is not reckless boldness, it is calculated willingness. The 0.1% do not deny fear, they acknowledge it, but they refuse to bow to it. They take fear as a signal that they are moving into new territory, stretching beyond their comfort zones, and that is precisely where growth resides. Every achievement in history was born from a moment of courage, a decision to take the first step into the unknown. The first inventor risking ridicule, the first leader challenging convention, the first entrepreneur daring to build something new. All of them felt fear, yet they acted. Those who lack courage wait for confidence before acting, but they misunderstand the order of things. Confidence is the fruit of action, not the seed. By stepping forward, by trying, by persisting, you earn confidence through lived experience. Courage is the bridge that takes you from uncertainty to strength. Without it, dreams remain fantasies locked away in the mind. With it, dreams take on flesh, shape, and reality. The world belongs to those who move, not to those who wait. Every great reward requires a step into risk, and every step into risk requires courage. The masses hesitate at the edge, listening to fear's warnings, while the 0.1% leap and discover that the ground appears beneath their feet once they commit. This willingness to act despite fear is what builds lives of purpose, creates legacies, and changes the world. To hesitate is to let life slip by unnoticed. To act with courage is to seize it fully and claim what is waiting on the other side of fear. Discipline over emotion is the principle that ensures progress even when motivation fades, when excitement wanes, and when the temporary spark of inspiration is no longer enough to carry a person forward. The 0.1% understand that success is built not on fleeting moods or bursts of enthusiasm, but on steady, consistent habits practiced day after day, regardless of how they feel. The 99.9% allow their emotions to dictate their actions. They work when they feel inspired, rest when they feel lazy, and quit when things become uncomfortable. This constant surrender to mood ensures that they never build momentum, never see lasting results, and never realize their potential. The few who rise to the top live by discipline. They rise at the same hour, follow routines, and stay committed to their goals even when the fire of excitement is not burning as brightly. They know that emotions are temporary, but habits are enduring. A man who waits to feel like working will work rarely, but a man who disciplines himself to work whether he feels like it or not will succeed unfailingly. The 0.1% understand that discipline is freedom, the freedom to achieve, to grow, to create the life they desire, while slavery to emotion is bondage to inconsistency, frustration, and mediocrity. Discipline does not mean a life without enjoyment or spontaneity. It means establishing order and structure so that the most important tasks are accomplished regardless of shifting moods. It is the decision to prioritize long-term gain over short-term comfort. Emotions demand ease now, rest now, indulgence now. Discipline demands effort now, sacrifice now, focus now, knowing the rewards will be greater later. This contrast is the dividing line between the successful and the unsuccessful. Those who live for the impulse of the moment squander their days. Those who master discipline invest each day wisely and harvest the results in due time. The great irony is that discipline often creates the emotions that people seek in the first place. A person who waits to feel like exercising may never start, but the person who exercises through discipline feels better, healthier, and more confident afterward. The person who avoids work because of boredom or frustration falls behind and feels even more defeated, while the disciplined worker gains progress, momentum, and pride. Discipline is not the enemy of happiness, it is the pathway to it. Every life is shaped by either discipline or impulse. One builds, the other destroys. One directs, the other distracts. One achieves, the other regrets. The 0.1% choose discipline as their master, knowing that emotions will come and go but habits will remain to guide them toward their vision. The 99.9% remain slaves to how they feel in the moment, forever starting and stopping, forever chasing fleeting motivation but never finding the consistency that produces greatness. Discipline may not be glamorous, but it is the silent force behind every lasting achievement, every fulfilled goal, and every life lived with purpose. A long-term thinking is the trait that separates those who merely exist from those who build lasting legacies. The 99.9% chase what feels good now, pursuing instant gratification in the form of quick pleasures, easy rewards, and short-lived distractions. They trade tomorrow's promise for today's comfort, never realizing that every shortcut they take robs them of the future they could have created. The 0.1% live by a different philosophy. They understand that greatness requires patience, endurance, and the willingness to sacrifice present ease for future reward. They see life as a garden where every thought, decision, and action is a seed planted. Some seeds take weeks to sprout, others take years, but the harvest always belongs to those who are willing to wait and tend the soil with discipline. When you look closely at the world's most accomplished men and women, you will see a common pattern. They are visionaries, builders, and planners. They think beyond the moment, beyond the day, even beyond the decade. They imagine what they want to leave behind, how they want to live in the future, and what value they can create for generations to come. The 99.9% consume their time, their money, and their energy on passing pleasures that vanish almost as quickly as they arrive. The 0.1% invest those same resources into growth, knowledge, and creation, knowing that compounded over time, these investments will multiply beyond measure. Long-term thinking is not about denying oneself joy, it is about choosing deeper and more lasting joys over shallow and temporary ones. A person who saves and invests rather than spending recklessly experiences the joy of financial freedom later. A person who studies, practices, and builds skill instead of wasting time feels the joy of mastery later. A person who works patiently at a vision rather than chasing quick schemes enjoys the joy of fulfillment later. The short-term thinker is trapped in cycles of instant pleasure and lasting regret, while the long-term thinker endures short-term effort for enduring satisfaction. This mindset requires faith, because the results of long-term thinking are not immediate. It is easy to give up when the reward is not yet visible, and this is why the masses quit before they see results. The 0.1% hold on. They believe in the seeds they have planted. They water them, nurture them, and wait, knowing that all worthwhile things take time. Their patience becomes their advantage. Where the majority lack the endurance to see things through, the few win by simply staying the course. The truth is, life will always test whether you value the moment more than the future. The temptation of instant gratification will never disappear, but those who resist it, those who think in years instead of hours, in decades instead of days, shape lives of enduring prosperity and impact. The 0.1% are not governed by the fleeting desires of today, they are guided by the vision of tomorrow, and that is why they ultimately rise above the rest. Ownership of responsibility is the hallmark of the 0.1%, the rare individuals who understand that the power to change their lives rests entirely in their own hands. They refuse to blame luck, circumstances, or other people for where they are. Instead, they take full accountability for their actions, their choices, and their outcomes. The 99.9% waste their energy pointing fingers outward, blaming the economy, their upbringing, their boss, or even fate itself, never realizing that by doing so, they surrender control. The few who succeed know that blame is weakness and responsibility is strength, for responsibility places the power of change where it belongs, within. When a man or woman takes ownership, every setback becomes a lesson, every failure a teacher, every obstacle an opportunity to improve. Rather than complaining about what went wrong, they ask, "What can I do better next time?" This question unlocks growth, because it shifts the focus from what cannot be controlled to what can. The masses replay excuses that keep them stuck, while the 0.1% replay solutions that propel them forward. This mindset is the dividing line between a life of stagnation and a life of progress. Taking responsibility does not mean life will be free from hardship. It means that no matter what hardship arises, you will choose your response. Circumstances may not always be your fault, but how you handle them is always your responsibility. Two people can face the same challenge. One will fold under the weight of excuses, the other will rise with the determination to adapt and grow. Over time, this difference compounds, creating two entirely different destinies. The 0.1% understand that blaming others is a form of self-deception, a way of protecting the ego while destroying progress. It may feel easier to fault someone else, but it leaves you powerless. Responsibility, though harder in the moment, builds resilience and strength. It forces you to confront your flaws, acknowledge your mistakes, and take the uncomfortable steps to correct them. This process is not pleasant, but it is transformative. It is the crucible in which growth is forged. Great leaders, innovators, and achievers share this trait. They do not hide from mistakes, they own them and adjust. They do not linger in self-pity, they use failures as feedback. They view themselves as the authors of their own stories, never as victims of circumstance. This sense of ownership gives them a steady confidence, because they know that as long as they can act, they can improve, and as long as they can improve, they can win. Life becomes dramatically different when you adopt this mindset. Instead of waiting for the world to change, you begin to change yourself. Instead of demanding life be easier, you become stronger. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you ask, "What now?" The 0.1% live by this standard every day, and it is why they continually rise above the excuses that keep the 99.9% bound to mediocrity. Focus on growth, not comfort, is the mindset that elevates the 0.1% above the rest of the world. The majority seek a life of ease, doing only what feels pleasant, avoiding challenge, and clinging to the familiar. They equate comfort with happiness, yet comfort often breeds stagnation, dulls ambition, and keeps them confined within the same patterns year after year. The few who succeed see life differently. They understand that growth demands struggle, that expansion requires discomfort, and that fulfillment is found not in avoiding hardship but in overcoming it. The 0.1% deliberately step beyond their comfort zones because they know that is where their potential begins to unfold. The masses misunderstand success. They believe it is a destination where ease and luxury await, but the reality is that success is a continuous journey of growth. Each challenge overcome opens the door to new abilities, new opportunities, and new horizons. Comfort, on the other hand, is a trap disguised as safety. It whispers to stay where you are, to rest a little longer, to avoid the risks that growth demands. But in yielding to that voice, people slowly wither, their dreams fading into regrets. The successful resist this temptation. They seek expansion, not ease, because they value who they become in the process more than temporary pleasures. Growth is uncomfortable because it demands sacrifice. It asks for early mornings, late nights, difficult decisions, and the courage to endure failure. Most avoid this, preferring the illusion of security, but the 0.1% embrace it. They know that each season of discomfort is shaping them into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. Just as muscles grow only when pushed beyond their limits, character grows only when tested by trials. The successful willingly place themselves in situations that stretch them because they know that ease never produces greatness. Focusing on growth means choosing learning over entertainment, effort over laziness, progress over excuses. It means asking not, "What is easiest for me right now?" but "What will make me better in the long run?" This simple shift in mindset changes the entire course of a life. The masses may settle for the comfort of familiarity, but the 0.1% pursue mastery, contribution, and self-discovery, and in doing so they build lives of depth and significance. Those who chase comfort will always fall behind because the world is in constant motion. To stay still is to decline. Those who chase growth, however, expand with time, continuously elevating themselves to new levels of skill, resilience, and achievement. The choice is clear: live small, safe and comfortable, or live boldly, growing and expanding into all you are meant to be. The 0.1% choose the path of growth, and though it is harder, it is the only path that leads to true fulfillment and lasting success. Persistence through obstacles is the quality that separates fleeting effort from lasting achievement. Most people begin their journeys with enthusiasm, inspired by the vision of what they desire, but the moment difficulties arise, they falter. The road grows steep, the work becomes heavy, and discouragement whispers that quitting is easier. The 99.9% surrender when confronted with resistance, mistaking temporary struggle for permanent impossibility. The 0.1%, however, endure. They understand that obstacles are not signs to retreat, but tests to prove their commitment. Where others see a wall, they see a challenge to climb. Where others lose faith, they press on, knowing that persistence is the price of every worthwhile reward. Every great success story is written in the ink of persistence. The inventor who failed countless times before creating a breakthrough, the leader who faced opposition yet remained steadfast, the entrepreneur who endured setbacks and losses before achieving triumph. All of them are bound together by the refusal to give up. They kept moving when progress seemed invisible, trusting that each effort, each attempt, each lesson was moving them closer to the goal. Their persistence transformed obstacles into stepping stones, turning adversity into advantage. The 99.9% often misinterpret struggle as a signal that they are not meant to succeed. They believe that difficulty is a sign of misfortune or a reason to stop, but the truth is that difficulty is inevitable for all. The difference lies in how it is met. Those who quit guarantee failure. Those who persist guarantee progress. It may not come immediately. It may not come easily, but it will come. Persistence is not a blind refusal to change course. It is the steady commitment to keep advancing, to adjust where needed, but never to abandon the destination. Persistence builds strength of character. Every obstacle endured deepens resilience, every challenge met sharpens resolve, and every delay tolerated develops patience. Success is not only about reaching the goal, but about becoming the kind of person capable of handling it. Without persistence, even if success were given, it would be quickly lost. With persistence, success is earned, and what is earned can be sustained. The 0.1% recognize this truth and embrace the trials of the journey as essential to their growth. The world is filled with unfinished projects, abandoned dreams, and unrealized potential, not because the goals were impossible, but because persistence was absent. Most give up too soon, standing only steps away from victory. The few who endure, who keep pressing forward after countless failures and disappointments, discover that persistence is the secret bridge between effort and success. Where others quit, they endure until the result arrives, and in doing so, they separate themselves forever from the crowd who never stayed the course. Value of time is the principle that distinguishes those who achieve from those who drift without direction. The rare few understand that every minute is a form of currency, spent once and never regained. They treat their hours as precious investments, carefully deciding where to place their attention and energy. The 99.9% squander their time on distractions, meaningless pursuits, and idle comforts, believing there will always be more. They fail to see that life is measured in moments, and each wasted moment is a portion of life surrendered forever. The 0.1% recognize that how they use their time ultimately determines the quality and direction of their lives. When you observe the truly successful, you will notice they are deliberate in how they spend their days. They do not allow hours to pass aimlessly, nor do they indulge in constant distractions. They schedule, prioritize, and guard their time because they know it is their most valuable asset. Money can be earned again, possessions can be replaced, but time once gone is gone forever. The masses treat time casually, as though it were infinite, but the rare few live with the awareness that their days are numbered, and this awareness fuels their urgency to act, to build, and to live meaningfully. Wasting time often comes in the form of procrastination, endless entertainment, or conversations and activities that add nothing to one's growth. These behaviors offer temporary amusement but steal long-term fulfillment. The 0.1% discipline themselves to minimize these drains, replacing them with actions aligned to their vision. They read, learn, create, build, and invest in pursuits that compound over time. They measure their days not by how comfortable they felt, but by what progress they made. In this way, they create lives of depth and purpose while the majority look back with regret at years frittered away. To value time is also to respect the seasons of life. Youth, energy, and opportunity are gifts that must be maximized, for they do not last forever. The 0.1% act with urgency, knowing delays become regrets. They do not wait for perfect conditions or for life to hand them opportunities. They use the time they have now, imperfect though it may be, to take the next step forward. Each small investment of time compounds into extraordinary results, while wasted minutes compound into a lifetime of missed potential. Time is the equal resource given to all, rich and poor, young and old. Yet the difference in outcomes lies in how it is used. The masses treat it lightly and watch it slip away, while the few honor it and shape their destinies with it. Every day is a deposit into the account of life, and one day the account will close. The 0.1% understand this truth, and because they treat each minute as currency, their lives become rich in achievement, growth, and meaning, while the rest waste it carelessly and wonder why success eludes them. Faith in possibility is the silent force that drives the 0.1% to achieve what the 99.9% never even attempt. The masses demand proof before they commit, waiting for conditions to be certain and results to be visible before they dare to believe. They say, "Show me, and then I will trust." But the 0.1% reverse this order. They believe first, they step forward in faith, and only later does the evidence appear. They understand that nothing great is ever achieved without first holding the conviction that it can be done, even when all external signs suggest otherwise. This faith is not blind optimism. It is the deep, unwavering confidence that effort, persistence, and vision will eventually bring forth results. Every invention, every breakthrough, every remarkable achievement in history was born from someone who believed before the world could see. The airplane flew in the mind of the Wright brothers long before it ever took to the skies. Electricity lit up the imagination of Edison before it ever illuminated a single room. These pioneers faced doubt, ridicule, and countless failures, yet their faith in possibility carried them forward when others would have quit. The masses around them demanded proof, but the 0.1% pressed on, certain that possibility existed and determined to uncover it. Faith in possibility is what allows a person to act when the outcome is uncertain. Without it, hesitation rules, and hesitation always kills progress. The 99.9% wait for reassurance, and in that waiting, opportunities pass them by. They miss their moment because they cannot see beyond the present. The 0.1% sees opportunity because they trust in their vision, their work, and their ability to adapt. They may not know exactly how success will arrive, but their belief keeps them moving until the way reveals itself. This mindset requires courage, for it is easier to doubt than to believe. Doubt shields the ego from disappointment, but it also locks the door to achievement. Faith, on the other hand, exposes a person to risk, but it also unlocks possibilities that doubt could never touch. The 0.1% accept this risk willingly because they know that the greatest danger lies not in believing and failing, but in never believing at all. Faith in possibility is not passive hope, it is active conviction. It compels action. When you believe something is possible, you behave differently, you commit more fully, you persist more strongly. That persistence compounds, and soon reality begins to align with the vision. The masses wait to see it before they move, and so they remain stuck in hesitation. The 0.1% believe first, act on that belief, and eventually make visible what was once only imagined. They believe before they see, and that simple reversal is the reason they succeed while others remain behind. Contribution over consumption is the principle that elevates the 0.1% above the crowd. The masses live with a mindset of taking, constantly asking, "What's in it for me?" They measure opportunities by what they can extract. Money, comfort, recognition, without considering how they can add value. This attitude creates a cycle of dissatisfaction, because consumption alone never fulfills. The more they take, the more they crave, and the emptier they feel. The 0.1% live by a higher standard. They ask, how can I serve? What can I create? How can I make life better for others? By shifting their focus from taking to giving, they align themselves with one of life's timeless laws: value flows to those who provide it. When you look at the most successful individuals, you will notice they are not simply consumers but contributors. They build businesses that solve problems, create products that improve lives, write books that inspire minds, and dedicate themselves to causes that outlive them. Their success is not the result of chasing money or recognition directly. It is the byproduct of serving others at a high level. Money and influence follow naturally because they flow toward value. The 99.9% never understand this principle. They chase wealth as if it were a prize to be seized, but they overlook the fact that wealth is earned by providing something meaningful in return. Contribution is not always grand or global. It can be as simple as improving the life of one person, delivering excellence in your daily work, or offering kindness in a world often starved of it. The 0.1% cultivate the habit of giving more than they take in every interaction, and over time this generosity builds trust, respect, and influence. The masses, focused on consuming, wonder why opportunities never come their way, while the few who contribute constantly find doors opening to them. The irony of contribution is that by serving others you serve yourself. Fulfillment, purpose, and joy are natural consequences of giving. Consumption satisfies for a moment, but contribution satisfies for a lifetime. Those who live only to consume are always left chasing the next distraction, while those who contribute experience meaning that outlasts any temporary pleasure. Contribution creates legacy, the kind of impact that continues long after one's lifetime has ended. To live by contribution requires a shift in perspective. Instead of entering situations asking, "What can I get?" the 0.1% ask, "What can I give?" This question changes the way they approach relationships, work, and life itself. They become creators rather than consumers, leaders rather than followers, givers rather than takers. In doing so, they not only rise above the masses in success, but also in fulfillment. The rare few live with the knowledge that true greatness is never measured by what you accumulate, but by what you contribute, and this is why they ultimately stand apart from the 99.9% who ask only what's in it for them. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not has never been a mystery. It lies in mindset. The 0.1% think and act in ways that the 99.9% will not. They live with clarity of vision while others drift without direction. They act with courage while others hesitate in fear. They choose discipline over fleeting emotion and pursue long-term growth instead of short-term comfort. They accept full responsibility for their lives, persist through obstacles, value every moment as precious currency, and believe in possibilities long before they become visible. Above all, they live for contribution, seeking to serve rather than to take. These principles, though simple, are rarely practiced, and that is why the masses remain in mediocrity while the few rise to greatness. The invitation stands open to all, but only those willing to adopt the mindset of the 0.1% will ever step into the life they were created.